What do you think the responsibilities are for tech media and mainstream media when it comes to reporting cybersecurity?
You have to be clear in distinguishing what's known from what's not known. You got to get the facts right. You have to do the work. I think when you get into a domain, you expect more expertise on the topic. You end up with more nuance when you're speaking to a group of people who know the lingo.
That language barrier is very important because it keeps people out of the tech press. It means that some people kind of read an article and have no idea what's going on. Whereas people like us and our listeners, right, we're kind of like, yeah, we know what that means. And so we can get into the nuts and bolts.
Quite often, folks are taking advantage of the fact that most people are uncomfortable saying, I don't know what that means, or could you explain that to me?
I don't know if people are actually, when they're talking with jargon, they're not trying to push people out of the conversation. It's just that they have a
It's their
shorthand.
language. Yeah,
it's a shorthand, right? And we all have it.
Paul Lanzi of Remedian asks a very good question. Is mispronunciation of standard cybersecurity terms a reasonable way to judge cybersecurity journalists?
Because my main gig is doing a daily podcast that is quite often breaking news, I would hazard to say that I am quite often among the first people to say a word out loud, where someone comes up with a clever name of an APT group, they type it into their computer, and they don't consider that someday someone is going to have to say it out loud. And often that person is me. What often happens to us is we'll get an email from someone and you can tell they're picking a fight. If I respond graciously and say, thank you for pointing out the error, I'll try to do better in the future. You've de-escalated the situation. I'm not interested in fighting with someone.
Our show, for example, Smashing Security, is all about bickertainment. We certainly had people going, oh, I didn't really like that angle of the story, or Carl, I didn't agree with you, or Graham, I didn't agree with you. But that's okay.
How do you deal with panelists and interviewees who want to dominate the conversation?
Ultimately, it's my show. So you're a guest in my house and I set the ground rules. I think a big part of it is setting expectations ahead of time. So we go in with the ground rules set and trying to have a good faith conversation where they know I'm not trying to dig up dirt or anything like that. That's not our beat.
People that are guests on the show, like guest hosts or people we interview, they're there as our guests. They're our VIP. So rather than set the parameters to them, I try and talk to them and say, this is what we like to do. What do you think? I want them to be comfortable and happy.
This one comes from Frank Reed. How concerned are you about putting something into the news stream that is ultimately wrong and can cause serious damage to company and its stakeholders?
A big way to protect yourself against it is by being very specific about your attribution. If you establish a track record by not dealing in gossip, I believe you will win the benefit of the doubt. You'll win the goodwill of your audience.
Welcome to the Department of Yes, where no request is ever rejected.
Let the sports writers cover cybersecurity.
Sports writers are very good at handling breaking news. They're very good at distilling things as they come in. Sports is a male-dominated industry, so they'll be right at home in cybersecurity.
Why should we store all cyber podcasts on 8-track tape?
We can all agree that 8-track tape has stood the test of time. There is no EMP pulse powerful enough to wipe clean an 8-track tape.
You'd never have too many podcasts. A lot of people get stressed out that they have too many podcasts to listen to and not enough time. Within an 8-track, you'll have a limited amount of podcasts.
Get your cybersecurity coverage from CNN.
You don't want to be overburdened with too much lingo, too many terms.
Which one is worse? Automate trolling of anyone that makes an objectionable cyber media post, or create random acronyms for cyber terms and push it enough until Gartner has it in their top quadrant.
I'll say automated trolling because I don't like trolls.
Gartner quadrant, right? Because Gartner's already got so many acronyms.
You think trolling is worse?
Yes.
Do you think that the cyber media has responsibility to address less cyber-oriented folks so they would be more aware of risks to their companies, families, etc., or that cyber media should have the responsibility just to address the cyber community?
Yes, I do believe those of us who have expert domain knowledge have a responsibility to share that knowledge with everyone else, especially when it could help their well-being and their safety.
All of us here think we know a lot about tech. I bet there could be any conference we go to and we come away learning 10,000 things. So none of us are experts anymore.
This one from Dustin Sachs. What methods do you find yourself using to keep your content fresh and different from the sea of other podcasts?
Steve Martin said in his biography, be so good they can't ignore you. A lot of that is practice. I refer to it as you build up a bag of tricks. How do you get that bag of tricks? by doing this.
We got a question here from Jenna Preston. Do you feel respected by the security community as journalists? Is it anything like marketing where you're treated like smelly socks?
Good people respect you because they give you a chance. Bad people don't. There's both in all industries. And your job is to slalom those waters with as least, friction as possible.
Cybersecurity has more than its fair share of rock stars. I've crossed paths with some of those people and they sniff at you and they look down at you. So if you establish that quickly, you get the information you want from them or you need from them, and then you never speak to them again.
Our job is to try and stay educated. In our podcast, all of us, I know, are committed to trying to do the best stories that we can for the people that listen to the show. We try and do our research. We do our best to do it, but we need the community too to help us. So if we get things wrong, tell us, right? Because we can fix it.
We all want to get it right, and it's painful when you don't, but how you respond is very important. And building long-term goodwill with your audience, that comes from approaching these things from the right direction. I am a big believer in having a toolkit of skeptical thinking to make sure that you're not getting fooled. And I think it was Richard Feynman who said, "You're the easiest person to be fooled."